Now we have the player's name for the device ID and can change it. And this is all stored in the local save game as well as in the EOS player storage, which is the cloud save. And when we log in with our Epic account, we will see our account's nickname. Welcome back to our tutorial. Now, what I want to make is the ability to create a name for the device ID user. For that, we will use a saved game. So, let's go to our game instance. I will make some quick comments to what we had here. Okay, let's create a custom event to handle the player's save data loading. First, we need to check if a save game exists. There is an Unreal function for this called Does Save Game Exist? Let's promote that to a variable that we can use later. We can keep it as the slot name, but set a default value for the save game. This function checks our computer for a save game file named save game. If the save game exists, we just load it. If it doesn't, we will create one. To create the save game, we'll use the create save game object function. We need a custom class to store our player nickname. So let's create a new folder in the content folder, name it save game, and create a save game object there. Search for save game under all Blueprint classes. Name it SG_save game. In the save game object, add a new variable named player nickname and set the type to text. We good here. Set our SG save game as save game class. Promote the save game to a variable and categorize it under player data. Now, if the save game doesn't exist, we create a new one. If it does exist, we load the save game from the slot, which is the same as the slot name we set earlier as variable. We need to cast it because this is a save game object reference, not our custom save game class. After that, we can set the save game data. Additionally, we have the Player Cloud Storage (EOS) feature, which allows us to store files from the player. We can implement that here as well. First, we need to get the EOS player storage and use the same file name as the local save game. If there's no local save game, we check the cloud storage. If that fails, we create a new save game. If the cloud storage has data, we load it and cast it to our custom save game class, then set the save game data. From EOS, we get save data as bytes array. We need to convert it back to save game object class and cast return value to our custom save game object. And set it as our save game variable. Okay, so this is the process of checking for a local save game. If it exists, we load the local save game. If it doesn't, we check for a cloud save game. If the cloud save exists, we load it. If not, we create a new save game. Let's comment this out for now. Now, where do we create this? Probably right after login. Our macro for login using EIK seems like a good place for this. But cloud loading can take some time, and everything after this function will continue to execute while the cloud load is happening. Let's take this code and collapse it into a function. Let's name it OpenMenuMap. Remove it from the macro. Now we can call this function at the end in all three cases of checking for the save game, and then open the menu map after we sure we got save game. Now we need an event to save our save game. I will run ahead and create an interface event for this, as we will be using this to save our game from any Blueprint class. Name it GI_SavePlayerSaveGame. Implement the Save Game interface. To save game, we use Save Game to Slot function. For slot, use our variable, and for Save Game object, use our Save Game variable. Do a branch. This will act as delay. To save the save game in the EOS player storage, use the Set EIK player storage node. Use our slot variable as file name. Convert the save game object to a byte array. Add print strings for on success and on fail nodes. And here we have our save game system. Now, create a UI to show the player's name if the player is logged in with an Epic account. If it's a device ID, we allow the player to choose their name. I use shortcut of Shift plus right-click to copy and Shift plus left-click to paste it. Change common border color alpha to 0.75. Looks good. Make sure name text input variable and nickname text variable. Just categorize and comment on what we made before. To get the player's nickname, use the Get Player Nickname node. If the player is logged in with an account portal or persistent authentication, it will retrieve the player's Epic account nickname. So if this is not empty, it means we have a player nickname. We can hide the editable nickname and make it collapsed if nickname string is not empty. Get player nickname text and set its text as our player nickname. If the player's nickname is empty, hide the player nickname text, as we will be using an editable nickname part of the UI. We can do quick test to see how it works. With device ID, we get to pick our name. And with Epic ID, we get our Epic account name. Okay, now first we need to save it input of nickname. Choose on text committed event, or we will be saving every letter change, and we don't want that. We need to create two interface events for our game instance. One is for getting the player's nickname, and the other for setting the player's nickname. Add GI_ before name. In the Get Player Nickname event, the output should be a text type for the player's nickname. In the Set Player Nickname event, we need an input for the player's nickname. Now, in the game instance, we need to implement those events. In the case of the Set Player Nickname event, we get the save game variable and set the player's nickname in the save game variable. For the Get Player Nickname event, we do the reverse. We get the save game variable and retrieve the player's nickname from the save game. It's also a good practice to get the specific thing you need, rather than getting the full save game reference and then getting the player's nickname in the place where you need it. Now we can save what the player inputs in the field, get the game instance, and set the player's nickname. This just updates the save game variable with the new nickname. We still need to save it on the local machine and on the cloud. Add a small delay just in case, and use our save game interface to save it. Now get game instance and get player nickname. Now we check if the player's nickname is empty. If it's empty, we don't need to do anything. If it's not empty, we set our editable text and set the text. Make sure it's content set text. Seems good. Time to test it. Well, I already had a save game because of preparations for this video, so it already found the existing information. All working. Now we have the player's name for the device ID and can change it. And this is all stored in the local save game as well as in the EOS player storage, which is the cloud save. And when we log in with our Epic account, we will see our account's nickname. For the end, I want to show where the save game is stored for the editor. It's located in your project folder, under the Save folder, and in the Save Games folder. You can delete it to do tests. We still have my chosen nickname, as it got the save file from the cloud. Even if you delete your local save game, you will still have your chosen nickname, as it is retrieved from the cloud save. If no save exists locally, I will disconnect storage check for the cloud saving to see game state, then you would launch it first time. And it works. This is how it would look with no save game existing locally or on the cloud. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. In the next one, we'll make the connected player names show up in the lobby. See you in the next one.